So, Italy just bet 300 million euros on an ice hockey arena that isn't finished. The Olympics start in 8 days, and during the test event 3 weeks ago, the ice developed a hole. An actual hole. Mid-game. This is the story of 2 buildings. One finished 3 months early. The other, well, we'll get to that. Because Milan is either about to pull off the most impressive infrastructure miracle in Olympic history, or stage the most expensive embarrassment since, well, the last Olympics. I'm going to show you exactly what Italy built, how much it actually cost, and whether any of this will be ready when the world's cameras arrive on February 6th. And if you want to see how this ends, because trust me, nobody knows yet. Hit subscribe. You'll want to be here for the aftermath. The arena disaster. Let's start with the Milano Santa Giulia Ice Hockey Arena. This thing is supposed to be Italy's answer to Madison Square Garden, designed by David Chipperfield, the same architect who did the Nobel Center and reconstructed the Neues Museum in Berlin. The man doesn't do mediocre work. The design is genuinely clever. 3 floating aluminum rings stacked on top of each other, separated by bands of glass. During the day it looks like the rings are levitating. At night, LED strips turn the entire facade into a light show that pulses with the energy of whatever's happening inside. It's 175 meters long, 145 meters wide, nearly 40 meters tall. An elliptical amphitheater that holds 16,000 screaming hockey fans. Except here's the problem, it doesn't. On January 11th, 2026, 3 weeks ago, they hosted the Italian Ice Hockey Cup Final Four. This was the mandatory Olympic test event, the one where you prove to the International Ice Hockey Federation that your venue actually works. The exterior was perfect. Those glowing rings looked spectacular on television, but inside, NHL players reported the ice was soft. Then, during the opening game, a hole appeared near one of the goals. They had to stop play and patch it on live broadcast. Why? Because the building envelope wasn't sealed. Construction crews were still working, doors were propped open for equipment, and the climate control system, the one responsible for maintaining the ice slab at precisely -5 degrees Celsius, couldn't compensate. You can't make ice when you're essentially operating an outdoor rink. Here's what observers saw. The playing surface was functional, barely, but the concourses, unpainted drywall. The floors, raw concrete. The hospitality suites, the skyboxes, the permanent media centres, non-existent. They brought in temporary furniture and parked mobile catering trucks outside. The IIHF president, Luke Tardif, admitted the capacity has been reduced to 11,800 seats for the games, down from the planned 16,000, because entire sections aren't finished. His exact words: a little bit short, not exactly what I expected. Which is diplomatic speak for this is a disaster, but we're too far in to cancel. The original budget, 180 million euros. The current cost, over 300 million euros. That's a 66% overrun. Steel prices went berserk. Concrete got expensive. Labour became scarce. And then, because Italy is Italy, they had to accelerate everything with double shifts and premium overtime rates. The Italian government stepped in last year with an emergency 51 million euro grant just to keep the private builder CTS Eventim from walking away. Because the embarrassment of a half-finished Olympic venue, that's a national crisis. The arena is supposed to be ready by late January 2026. They have days, not weeks, days. If, and this is a massive if, they pull it off, the arena becomes Milan's premier concert venue. Luciano Ligabue, Italy's answer to Bruce Springsteen, is booked for May 6, 2026. The inaugural post-Olympic concert. The facility is designed for 100 plus events per year. Hockey, basketball, concerts, exhibitions. It fills a genuine gap in Milan's infrastructure, but only if it's actually finished. The Village Miracle. Now let me tell you about the Olympic Village, because this is where Italy remembered how to build things. The Porta Romana Railway Yard. a 190,000 square metre industrial wasteland that's been cutting Milan in half since the 1800s. Abandoned locomotive sheds, rusted freight tracks, contaminated soil. The kind of urban scar that cities talk about regenerating for decades but never actually touch. Except someone finally did, and they finished early. The master plan was designed by a dream team. Dilla Scofidio plus Renfro, the Highline people, plus PLP Architecture and Carlo Ratti. The Olympic Village buildings themselves, Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, the same firm that designed Burj Khalifa and One World Trade Center. Their brief was simple: house 1,700 Olympic athletes for 6 weeks, then convert the entire complex into student housing by October 2026. Not in 5 years. Not after expensive retrofits. In 7 months. Here's the genius move. The site is bisected by active railway tracks. Most developers would bury them or reroute them, massively expensive. Years of disruption. Instead, they built over them. The suspended forest is a linear elevated park, like New York's High Line, but specifically designed for ecology. Hundreds of trees floating above operational trains. Pedestrian pathways connecting neighborhoods that haven't been connected in 140 years. Underneath, they created wetlands and woodlands to manage stormwater and increase urban biodiversity. It's not decoration, it's infrastructure that actually does something. The 6 residential buildings use hybrid mass timber construction. This wasn't some environmental virtue signal. It was about speed and carbon reduction. Timber instead of reinforced concrete cuts embodied carbon by roughly 40%. More importantly, it's faster. They used prefabricated facade panels manufactured off-site and assembled like Lego. The entire project was delivered 3 months ahead of schedule. The handover to the Olympic Foundation happened in October 2025, in Italy. 3 months early. Let that sink in. This is where it gets genuinely impressive. The village isn't just buildings, it's a cognitive district, managed by Siemens Desigo CC, the same system they use in smart airports. Thousands of IoT sensors monitoring CO2, temperature, humidity, occupancy in real time. But the real trick is the digital twin, a complete virtual replica of the village running in the cloud. Facility managers can simulate scenarios. What happens during a heat wave? What if 200 athletes all shower simultaneously? The system adjusts shading, water flow, heating loops automatically. It's achieved WiredScore Platinum certification, which means when 1,700 students move in this October, the internet won't collapse. And here's the bit that sounds impossible. They're converting this from Olympic Village to student housing in 4 months. February 2026. Athletes arrive. March 2026. Paralympians arrive. April to September 2026. Conversion. October 2026. Students move in for the 2026/27 academic year. How? The rooms are already furnished with the final student furniture. Beds, wardrobes, desks, exactly what the students will use. The athletes are just temporary guests. After the Paralympics, they remove some partitions, install kitchenettes, and open the doors. No waste, no double fitting. Of the 1,700 beds, 450 are subsidised at social rates, around €430 per month. In Milan, where average rent for a student room is closer to €700 to €900. This was made possible by the Fondo Nazionale Abitare Sociale, a public-backed fund that injected capital specifically for affordable housing. The remaining beds rent at market rate to keep the private investors happy. But 30% affordable housing in a luxury development. That's legitimately unusual. The verdict. So you've got 2 projects. Same city, same Olympics, same deadline. One is a masterclass in digital planning, mass timber innovation, and public-private partnership. Finished early, under control. Ready to become a genuinely useful piece of urban infrastructure. The other is a high-stakes bet that Milan can finish a €300 million arena in the next few days, with soft ice, incomplete interiors and reduced capacity. Milan 2026 isn't just about sport. It's a massive real estate gamble designed to physically restructure the city, turn industrial wastelands into sustainable districts, prove that the Agenda 2020 model, using existing infrastructure, prioritizing legacy, avoiding white elephants, actually works. The village proves it can work. The arena proves it's still incredibly easy to mess up. If the arena isn't ready, if the ice keeps melting, if the seats aren't installed, if the hospitality zones are still construction sites when the first game starts on February 7th, it doesn't just embarrass Italy. It undermines the entire sustainable Olympics concept, because the next host city will look at Milan and say, even with private investment, even with world-class architects, even with government bailouts, they still couldn't finish on time. On the other hand, if they somehow pull this off, if the arena is ready, if the games run smoothly, if the village transitions seamlessly to student housing, then Milan becomes the blueprint, the model every future host will study. But finished and functional aren't always the same thing. The bottom line, we are 8 days from the opening ceremony. The arena has days, not weeks, to prove it works. The village is already a success story. And somewhere in Milan, construction crews are working round-the-clock shifts to finish what should have been done months ago. This is either going to be a triumph of last-minute competence or a spectacular failure captured in real time by every camera in the world. Either way, it's going to be fascinating. The opening ceremony is February 6th. The first hockey game is February 7th. And somewhere in Milan, someone is either very confident or very nervous. We'll know soon enough. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.